was all right. It was all right. I mean, it is soft ground, but. I'm determined to go against the favourite in this. I quite like Albion Square. Any final thoughts, Mikey?
Yeah, I'm very much on Albion Square, but I do think Al Muhajir's going to outrun his odds.
I think on looks you'd have to go with Albion Square over the favourite. He's not a great deal to look at. Albion. I mean, I know you've spoken about the draw. It's probably hard to, with just the 10 runners in this, they could end up all over the track, which is going to be less than satisfactory and not that easy to try and fathom beforehand. But you'd probably want to be a little bit higher, sort of 4 and upwards. So Albion Square, perfectly well drawn. You'd think Freya Bella's going to be the one to take them along from stall 3. She's going to go forward, you'd imagine. Kiwano, you obviously saw get a little bit worked up in the parade ring there, and Home City could be another one that goes forward. So look, it's a bit like we said about the 3-year-old races last week. It's a carnival race, but not really a carnival race. And one of these are going to get a pretty cheap $60,000, I think.
I think it's pretty carnival-y. Got runners from
in that regard,
the UK,
yes. Yeah.
Runners from Ireland, got sort of Bahrain. I know we haven't. It keeps confusing me, that one. The KHK Racing Safra being with Simon Crisford and not Fauzi Nas keeps really confusing me. Even though I highlighted it, I still got it wrong. Because the same colours carried by Shahama.
Silent Speech may not very big, but he does remind me, we see all the different sort of cutouts and of Dubawi, the different sorts. The one he reminds me of a bit is Space Blues. He does have that small kind of boxy look, not boxy, but small athletic look to him.
He's going to have to go some to be as good as Space Blues. He's got an amazing family, Silent Speech. His dam's had 12 foals, 8 of them have won. And as I mentioned, one of them is the Group 1 winner, Ultra. So he's bred to be good, as are all Godolphin horses, really. They don't breed bad ones. So, loading forward, let's see how Al Muhajir gets on. And also, for JJ Jumbo's many fans, will he fly home in front of his enthusiastic owner? Carnival Night 2. Good evening to Alistair Cohen.
Here comes Albion Square and JJ Jumbo. JJ Jumbo's ready. Albion Square joins Hot Pink and Safra and Kiwano. Blustery Maidan racecourse. Up goes Kiwano. Set for a start. Gates are back. And they're racing. And Wild Place didn't get away too well as to be one of the back markers early on. Home City broke out well, in front by about 2 lengths over Albion Square, who races in second. Freya Bella alongside. JJ Jumbo's on the improve in the beige colours to go and race not too far off the leader, about a length adrift. Wild Place towards the inside, recovers, is now midfield. Then comes Safra in the yellow and black towards the near side, being followed by Silent Speech, who's got a few to aim at. Al Muhajir and Hot Pink are the next two, and Kiwano patiently ridden at the end of the field. And there's about 6 lengths in it, halfway through, 600 metres out at Home City in the lead over Albion Square in the light blue sleeves and cap. Wild Place, Silent Speech towards the far side. Safra's next best, then comes Al Muhajir. They followed by Kiwano, but it's still Home City in the lead and retains a 1 length advantage. Second place Silent Speech, and Silent Speech is in full cry towards the far side. They followed further back by Wild Place, then comes Al Muhajir, but it's Silent Speech in the lead by 2 lengths and showing no signs of stopping here. Home City trying to revive itself late in the day, but it's Silent Speech, despite drifting across the track, will win. Second goes to Home City, then came Wild Place, a Godolphin 1, 2, 3, Al Muhajir, then came Albion Square with Hot Pink next to finish. JJ Jumbo, Kiwano, Safra and Freya Bella.
Well, we might see that a few times this evening. A Godolphin 1, 2, 3 in our opener, and a statement of intent from the boys in blue. It goes to the favourite Silent Speech, who won it very well, and I think could probably say stepped up on his UK form there, Mikey. That was pretty good.
That was impressive. He drafted nicely, tipped out to the tipped in to the inside there. I thought that was very impressive. It was a lot better than I did expect, to be honest.
Yeah, it was a lot better than I expected as well. Home City chased him home for Saeed bin Saror. That was a good run, and then Wild Place was third. Stephen, pretty smooth, I thought, that look for William Buick.
Yeah, not often you can sort of ride a race really over the straight track here, but I thought William Buick was able to, knowing that he had a good horse under him. He just track the pace on a wing, which again is perhaps not a great place to be sometimes on the straight track, but again he probably knew he was on the best horse, and those draw and low did give him a good toe into the race. Frankie went forward on Home City. Freya Bella briefly showed speed, but you could tell William Buick was always travelling well, and you know, for a horse that had won over 1,400 metres last time and was quite strong at the finish on that occasion, you always felt he was going to come home well, and I'd say William Buick will probably say afterwards he was in front too soon, but had no choice given that the horse took him there. So yeah, decisive, and look, I don't know what the options are for him. I guess 1,400 metres turf race for the juveniles might be upcoming. No star, I don't think, but you know, similar scenario with the Godolphin 3-year-old that won last week.
Yeah, I thought that there were a few that kind of ran up with the pace early on that kind of faded out of it a little bit, Mikey. A few that seemed to struggle earlier than I expected.
Yeah, it was like you mentioned before, a few of them I think might just be more 5 furlong sorts, or they just weren't fit enough for the race. I actually was very impressed with this effort in that I think there's more to come from the winner. I think 7 furlongs, even a mile, might be within range, and I'm excited to see, because that did give me. He did one thing that not Blue Point, that Space Blues could not. He won it Maidan.
That's true. Space Blues absolutely hated Maidan, didn't he, on his couple of goes here. Options-wise, there's the Jumeirah Classic for 3-year-olds over 1,600 metres, so the mile, on February the 4th. But actually, Stephen, we've seen in the past, Charlie not afraid to come over here, run them once and say, right, that's you, we'll go home and plan something nice in May.
Exactly, yeah. And there's one more option I can see as well, the Al Wassel Stakes on the 18th of February over the same trip of 6 furlongs. So, yeah, one of those two. But yeah, like you say, it could just be a case of job done and taking back to England. And I don't know whether I don't necessarily think he's going to be a sprinter, but he's shown them there that he can travel off a pace and pick up. So yeah, he's obviously bred to be pretty useful, as you've seen, up to a mile. So yeah, could be, and he's still intact as well, which is more than some of his mates can say.
Yeah, quite a few geldings in the Marmoon stables. He's got a bonny little horse, isn't he? As you said before, Mike, he's not the biggest. He's actually being slightly dwarfed by Home City, who's following him into the parade ring there. But a lot of quality there, obviously.
Yeah, what impressed me the most, I think, is when he crossed the wire, he flipped his ears right up, like he'd done it quite easily. I think there's a lot more to come from him.
I wonder if he's one that they might sort of look to the jersey, something like that, with him later on.
Yeah, that could be a good option. Yeah, 7 furlongs, maybe find a European Guineas somewhere. I don't know. Look, he's beaten a horse that was well beaten last week in Home City. Wild Place, she stepped up a little bit. I still think we're talking about a race that's much of a muchness, and not to get too carried away, but he was more superior than the final 2-length winning margin would suggest.
One reservation I had about this Jumeirah Turf Series is it does rather play to the strengths of Godolphin, which is no bad thing in a way, because the crowd absolutely love them, and it's their home team, and of course we want them to do very, very well here, but at the same time they're just so good at winning these races, and now there's more of them.
It doesn't take much, though, for a European trainer to think, I've got a decent 9,500 rated horse and come and take them on, though. But I don't think we've seen that, really. I mean, looking at the field there, Freya Bella, with all due respect to Alice Haynes, she was probably a precocious 2-year-old. Safra, similarly, she'd had 7 starts. Kiwano, David Simcock has probably found out that he doesn't handle turf. So, look, there's nothing in this field with any group pretensions, and all it would take is one with that to come over and be a threat to Godolphin. It's just trying to persuade people to do that, because obviously there's the sell-on market back in England that will go to abroad, and there's also if they think they've got a half-decent one, they'll be looking at the classics anyway. I
think that's the main issue, isn't it? You've kind of got to concede early on at the time of the year when your owners are still dreaming of fancy Group 1s that you're not quite good enough for that, and come over here and, admittedly compete for some very, very good prize money. There's $100,000 in that race. As we look at it again, Albion Square threatened, didn't he? Got tired. JJ Jumbo very soon off the bridle. Disappointing for Sultan and team.
Yeah. I was kind of disappointed with Albion Square here. I thought that he would at least hang on for a bit more before the distance kicked in. I think it's just fitness at this point. Yeah, and you're probably right about the 5 furlongs, much more up his alley.
Yeah, I was looking at our Al Muhajim. I thought he might get up for third at one
Yeah.
point. I got quite excited, but the Godolphin filly there, well placed, just too strong in the end. That was actually a nice run from her. I wonder what Said will plan for her next. She's obviously...
Yeah, it was a good run from Al
Quite useful.
Muhajim.